Today we're going to do a pick a card with the intention of getting information that you need to know right now about whatever relationship you're either struggling with or wondering about. So this is card 1 and this is card 2. With each one of the readings for card 1 and card 2, we will clarify the message with an oracle card from the from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle deck, and we'll also do the book method of divination with this book, The Four Agreements, to clarify each of the messages. So at this point, what I'd encourage you to do is pause the video, decide which card is calling you. I will timestamp each card's reading in the description box of this video. So once you pause it, then obviously restart and go to your reading. Okay, looking forward to it. Pause this video now. Welcome back. This reading's for you if you chose card 1. So let's move into this reading. Card 1 is the Emperor. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. So we're going to clarify this message first. So please give me a clarifier for the Emperor. There it is. Perfection. So the first thing we're actually going to do is read the perfection information from this guidebook. This deck in particular is is organized by chakras. So there's 7 different colors from red all the way up to purple, which with 7 cards in each color. And so this is a root chakra card being red. So we're going to start by reading the root chakra overall message here. So here we go. The overall impression, grounding. Keywords, vital, sexual passion, energized, forceful. Manifesting intention. The first chakra relates to the source of your energy and how you build your foundation. Think of the root chakra as a platform. The red cards represent the support you have created and are creating for your future. The root chakra cards show us a new way to bring our dreams to fruition. They denote beginnings and reveal how to create a solid foundation in tangible form. Keep this in mind. If you are not yet creating what you say you desire, you may need to grow your energetic root deeper and wider into the earth plane. An abundance of red cards in a reading is a strong indication of how you are building your foundation and will offer energetic ideas about what is necessary for you to manifest. These cards represent the beginning of an undertaking and may guide you away from the old ideas that are no longer working in your life. Red cards ask, how does this card represent the place from which I can create something extraordinary? So just to start, it's clear. So what do you need to know about this relationship? It is either restructuring your foundation or in order for it to improve, the foundation needs to be restructured, or the foundation is not strong enough to maintain this relationship. Okay, so what did I say there? See what resonates most. It is either the relationship journey you're currently on is either beautifully restructuring your foundation in terms of like how you interact in relationships, or it is what is required for this relationship to work in a beautiful way is a restructuring of your foundation. That's number 2. Number 3 is the foundation that you currently have is not strong enough for this relationship to sustain. So take a moment to think about which one landed there the most. Now, as I say all that, this is crazy. There's berries in this card, and there's berries here. That's so weird. And I'm also noticing like the same color. Like, look at that red right there in this Emperor card and the green there. I mean, I feel like that's speaking about foundation. There's something here with the blue too, but it's just not coming to me quite yet. Like, what's under the foundation? I'm not sure yet. I feel like there's something there. Well, let's move forward and see if it comes through. Okay, so let's look at your specific card. So perfection. So this, I don't know if you know anything about this oracle deck, but it's really cool. It's just got little stories. It's got little meditations you can do. So there's a lot of like complexity to these cards. So I would just, as always, like take what resonates, leave what doesn't. But really notice what really sticks out to you with the stories and so on and so forth. So this story is called Righteous Raspberry. I have the same high standards for myself as I have for others. The legend. Raspberry needs no makeup to accentuate her exquisite features, but she wears it anyway. She's a perfectionist. She speaks the truth at all times, believing that she is helping others by sharing her truth. While statements such as, "Your child is overweight," are honest, they make others avoid her. Lonely, she seeks advice from her favorite elderberry, who teaches her, it's cute, isn't it? Who teaches her that honesty without kindness is cruelty. Her new vulnerability allows her to see the beauty in others as well as herself. Inspiration. Are you being too hard on yourself and consequently on others? Begin to look for what's right and good in your world, and you will see it. Personal inquiry. Where am I presently focusing? Knowing, quote unquote, knowing what's right and telling others about it might not be the best way of being. Key ideas. Alienating others, feeling alienated, seeking perfection, deeply desiring love, transformation ahead. Keywords: uniqueness, friendship, acceptance. Meditation. Think about the people in your life. Find something good about every person who comes into your mind, no matter who they are or how you feel about them, before you release them. So I'm going to reread that. Find something good about every person who comes into your mind before you release them. You will know the meditation is concluded when no more people come forward. And then there's an at a glance here, so let's read that. Perfection, Righteous Raspberry. This card indicates protection and an inner conflict between wanting to look good and having compassion for others. Remain kind and unattached to an outcome. Being right and letting others know that you are right may not support the understanding you desire. Okay. This is really quite a powerful and beautiful reading, and I can certainly resonate with it because it's been my story. The energy is like mimicking a lot of what I have gone through on my journey of developing healthier relationship dynamics in my life. And that is that I used to, similar to what was spoken out with the perfection card, I had, inner critic that was very unkind to myself. So I was very much a perfectionist. And then although the inner critic is very unkind, there's an interesting thing that happens with that dynamic within, where you then like project out the fact that you think you know what's right. And so there was a tendency, an unconscious tendency within myself to try to keep myself safe by always thinking I was right. Now, here's what's very interesting about this is it's the emperor here. Emperor is here. And the emperor, although very strong and dignified, does not need to tell other people about that strength and dignification. It's obvious. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's because the emperor protects him or herself. They protect themselves. Okay, and how do they protect themselves? They protect themselves with things like boundaries and structure. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think like what I didn't realize in my journey initially was that I was trying to protect myself with being right. I didn't really even have conscious awareness that I was always trying to be right. So there's many layers to this, right? To the shadow work of bringing the unconscious to the conscious level. But when I realized I could protect myself in different ways, again, through things like healthy boundaries and structure, and at the root level, like reestablishing things, reestablishing dynamics, that's not easy work, but it is healthy. And so I think there's definitely a call here to look at how you are feeling safe, what your definition of safety is in relationships, what allows you to feel vulnerable, what allows like good vulnerability, intimacy. Do you know what I mean? And seeing if you can restructure in a way at the root that is a bit healthier, and also not beating yourself up for some of these things that maybe you've done unconsciously to keep yourself safe, that haven't maybe been as advantageous for yourself and others. Because because we just do what we know until we know better. Yeah. So, and I think this reading might be an invitation to, like, in a really beautiful way, to open your eyes to the fact that you can actually feel more safety in this relationship and others. Because the irony is, when we are practicing these ways of quote unquote safety, these shadow ways of trying to feel safe. So like this example was, always having an inner critic on you, trying to be perfect, and then, projecting or actually saying that we're always right and we know what's right for everybody. And then we're kind of like orchestrating what we think people should do, right? We think that's keeping us safe, but like if we check in, we're actually just anxious AF all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? We're like feeling to this Emperor card. Like this Emperor card, like just feels a lot more like this flower arrangement, right? Just like, beautiful, grounded, dignified. It doesn't feel like this, right? This feels like safety. It feels like safety. And again, I think that's what's being called, like looking at, so I think it's like a tangible exploration. So if this is resonating, what I would tangibly do is really look at becoming skillful in relationships, because that's something I've really had to learn. And that I think plays off of the Emperor card. Like the Emperor is very skilled, right? And I didn't realize that there were relationship skills that I was lacking. I didn't realize that I could even build the skill set of healthy relationship ways of being. Do you know what I mean? And then now I know that more. This has been very helpful in my life to think about being skillful in relationships. And so I think like would be just like a beautiful place to start, is to begin to think about building your relational skills and to like literally look that up, like look up what healthy relationship dynamics are, look up things. So by looking up, I said literally Google, literally like search it on YouTube, like establishing healthy boundaries, creating healthy structures. Because I think it's not our fault that we have this idea of like love and relationships, whether it's like in an intimate partnership or it's like even friendships, where we kind of like romanticize them, right? And unfortunately, the problem with romanticizing relationships is that it doesn't work. It doesn't create long-term intimacy. And it doesn't create, like, you can't really build a life off of that. Again, whether it's like a working relationship, a co-working relationship, or a friendship, a family member, an intimate partner, like we're all just the beauty of having relationship is we build them, right? And we build a life. Well, when we romanticize relationships, there is nothing to build on. Oh, and that's like the root thing here, right? Restructuring your foundation, the root chakra. We have to create things to build on. And I think like realizing we can build relational skills was such a relief to me, because it made things like less abstract. It made things more like not so personal, like this is my personal relationship problem, but just like, oh, this is just like themes within any relationship. So there's like such relief in the idea of building a stronger foundation with relational skills. So let's get one final message here with the book Method of Divination from the 4 agreements. Okay, the second agreement, don't take anything personally. Oh my God. You cannot make this stuff up sometimes. Like I literally just said that it's not so personal, right? I mean, I think he means it a little differently here, but that's really funny. Okay, let's keep going. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality and their own dream. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Wow, that's beautiful. And I mean, how true is that? Like this is a projection card. Like you can see it. She's literally projecting her inner critic. Do you see that? Like this is, to me at least, represents her inner critic. So the voice inside of her that's saying she has to be perfect, and now she projects it out. And so I think looking at our own projections is very powerful, because not only does that allow us to be kinder humans, it also allows us to be more successful in all areas of life. And when we do that, when we're willing to look at our own projections, we see that everybody else is just projecting. So it helps us as we look at our own shadows and how we project them. Then it helps us really realize that we don't have to take anything personally, because that's like, don't take anything personally is great advice, right? But actually putting that into practice is like a different story, isn't it? So I think one of the best ways we can put that into practice is to get honest with ourselves about how we're projecting, because then we don't have to just like tell ourselves not to take things personally, but we can actually believe it. You know what I mean? So we don't have to like be taking things personally and then be like, oh, just don't take things personally. Do you know what I mean? But then feel bad because we are and think there's still, all that. But instead, what I've realized is shadow work, looking at how I am projecting, again, helps me realize and truly believe that other people are just projecting. So then it's easier for me to take things less personally. And again, I think another one of the messages from that came from this book, Method of Divination, today, is that our relationship problems are not really ever that personal. And frankly, all of our problems aren't that personal. It's the ego, it's the voice of shame that makes us think that our problems are so personal and there's nobody else is experiencing them and there's nobody would understand, and you know what I mean? But really there's patterns in everything, and there's dynamics with everything. And so I think thinking of things in this relationship, on this relationship journey, less personally and less shamefully, and really just like looking at it with kinder, clearer eyes and looking for the patterns is then going to help you not take things more personally. And then you can learn about these patterns from, therapists, from other people who are experts in healthy relationship dynamics, and you can start to build a stronger foundation. And as that's coming to me, remember I mentioned this blue, and I was like, what's under it? And I think what's coming to me now is like the blue is the book, and the red was the foundation. So I think what's under it is like what can build this healthy foundation is this idea of shadow work, taking things less personally, looking at how we're projecting, look at how we're being unkind to ourselves, so then we're unkind to others. Like that is what's going to create this strong foundation for you that's going to impact the current relationship that you're wondering about, but then forevermore is going to impact your relationships with everybody moving forward. Welcome back. This reading is for you if you chose card 2. Card 2 is 2 of Swords. Okay, so we're going to clarify here with a card from the Wisdom Chakra Oracle deck. And that's actually where we're going to start. So there it came, prayer. Yellow card. So the Wisdom Chakra Oracle deck is a deck that's arranged or organized by chakras. So there are 7 different chakras with 7 different colors. And within each of those 7 different colors, there's 7 different cards. So the yellow chakra is your solar plexus chakra. So that's in your body, that's located like above your belly button, right at the center of your being. It's like your empowerment center. So we're going to start by reading about the yellow cards, and then we'll go more specifically into the message from this particular card. Then we're going to relate it to the 2 of Swords, and then finally do the book Method of Divination to finish it out. So we'll start with the yellow cards here. Yellow, explore your thought processes. Overall impression, intellect. Keywords, creative, intellect, precise, cooperative, reasonable, innovation, originality, wisdom, instinct. Manifesting intention. The yellow cards of the 3rd chakra, the solar plexus chakra, reveal our planning processes. Do you have a logical or scattered approach? Because they represent thinking and problem solving, yellow cards reveal our ability to resolve issues. In essence, they show what's on our mind. In yellow, we turn on the lights and let the spirits know we are home. If you don't let them know where you are, they can't bring us to our desires. Ultimately, the 3rd chakra relates to our instinct and how our life is directed by it. When we can see how our instinct guides our thoughts, we will understand why we do what we do. And when it relates to our emotions, instinct is frequently the first thing that gets shut down. Remember what I said. Look to the previous chakra, the 2nd chakra in this case, if you feel blocked. Every decision we have ever made is in a flash. To move forward or stop, there's a moment, a split second in which we decide. In this chakra, you decide if you will allow magic into your life or not. Okay, so now we're going to go to the particular card. This oracle book, this guidebook, the messages on this card, or on each card, is very whimsical. It's pretty, there's kind of like a lot going on with each one. There's like a little story, there's a meditation. So I'd really encourage you to listen to it all and then note to yourself what really stands out and resonates amongst all that's going on. So prayer is the card, and the story is cool lemonade. My prayers are answered. The legend. An old man sits on his porch with his grandson, sipping lemonade and reminiscing. He wanted to be a traveling preacher. He's been all set to leave home, but his father reminded him to pray for guidance. That very night his father died, and the man realized that spirit was telling him to stay. Now his grandson appreciates lemonade, and the old man smiles. He never regretted staying on the farm. Inspiration. Cool lemonade is a reminder that there is always a plan. If you were sidetracked from your path, then you will be guided back to your true calling. Personal inquiry. If my most powerful thoughts are a form of prayer, how can I live in active prayer? Key ideas. All prayers are answered, following where life leads, being of service, fulfillment. Key words. Clarity, destiny, authenticity. Meditation. Knowing that you cannot take anything with you when you leave Earth. That thoughts create your world. Think now of the things that make you happy. Having all that you desire begins with taking what you need at the right time. Trust that you will be offered the best. Whether or not you take what is offered is entirely up to you. And then there's a at a glance here, so we'll look at that. The prayer card. Inquiry and original thought are inspired by angels in lemon yellow. Cut through and face the truth. Wow. Two of Swords. That's wild. Okay. Cut through and face the truth and surrender to a higher calling. There's a collaboration here and a willingness to change one's mind. Try to let go of control. Okay. Okay, so the first thing I'm feeling like I want to do is find the Two of Swords in a more standard deck than this abstract depiction so that you can see, if you're not familiar with it, you can see where it is here. Okay, so here it is, Two of Swords. Let's put this like this. Okay, so as you can see, in a more like standard imagery of the deck, she's blindfolded and is crossing her heart and has two swords up there. So I'm going to read from this deck, which is the Modern Witch tarot deck or guidebook. I'm going to read what it says about it, but first I'll just give you what I often think with the Two of Swords. So the Two of Swords, she's obviously blinded. So there's there's like your defenses are up, and there's like I don't really want to see what's actually going on, and I don't really want to make a choice, because to me, swords energy is like there's a precision to it. There's it's things to me like thoughts and strategies and boundaries and choices. There's like a choice energy to it, right? And so here she's just kind of like, I don't want to make that choice, right? So you get stuck in this not wanting to make choices. So let's read what comes, or what the Modern Witch Tarot says specifically about this card. So Two of Swords, you've raised your defenses, steeled yourself against opposition, and blindfolded yourself. By refusing to budge, you've blinded yourself to the truth of a difficult situation. Maybe you shut off your emotions as a defense mechanism, or you're refusing to see things logically. Perhaps you're stuck in analysis paralysis. Either way, you're not dealing with this problem honestly. Take off the blindfold and confront the issue. So that's sort of wild, right? Because let's reread what the prayer card said. Cut through and face the truth. I mean, like cut with the swords. Wow. And surrender to a higher calling. There's a collaboration here and a willingness to change one's mind. Try letting go of control. So when we are in defense mode, right, we don't always, we feel like we're being attacked, so we don't always feel like we're trying to be in control. But I think that's why we often do some of the funny things that we do as humans, is to try to maintain that control, which is interesting. Oh, interesting. Okay. Some things are coming to me. So when we're doing that to maintain control, what's happening? There's power dynamics at play, right? And so sometimes we can do interesting things to try to keep our power. And why I said that's interesting is because this is the energy center of empowerment. Okay. So, but what ultimately happens is, look at her, we just stay stuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, so even though we're trying to maintain power, we just stay stuck. And so there is a invitation here to, as it said in one of these, I can't remember, regardless, it was to a willingness to see things differently. Okay. Because in that we get to, and I think maybe even more than that, I'll get to that. But what wants to be said is, this is not at all a, like a calling you out, because actually what wants to be said is like, spirit understands your true desire to feel more empowered. And you've been doing the best you can up until this point with what you have known. So there's really no need to feel bad about where you're at in a particular relationship, because the spirit understands it was you trying to regain power in whatever way you know. And that's a really good intention. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really good for each of us as human to want to feel powerful, right? The problem is when it becomes power over instead of just empowered. When it becomes power over instead of just all of us being powerful, and and adults understanding how to get their needs met in a healthy, clear way from other adults. Do you get what I'm saying? And so there's like this, I'm almost getting this sense of relief, and I hope you're feeling it too, where like there's different ways for you to actually build this energy center, to actually build true empowerment in your life. And it doesn't have to feel like this all the time. Because even though we have our defenses up with Two of Swords, it's actually just most uncomfortable for ourselves. Do you know what I mean? Like who wants to just be sitting with their back turned away from beauty, with blindfolded with themselves and be like, nope, I'm not moving. Like, no, but that's just so uncomfortable for all of us. And my God, I've been there and still am sometimes in my life. So I get it in my own way. But the beautiful part is like, there is, and what's coming to me now too with this prayer card is like, I feel like Spirit, Mother God, the universe would like you to know it has heard your prayer. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have been asking for something different, and there is different ways for you to build your sense of empowerment. And so, and as you do that, that's going to impact not just this relationship that you're wondering about right now, but all relationships. So all relationships can get better in your life as you are willing to see things differently in terms of what building your empowerment actually means. And so, like, you know, I think, you know, a while back I said it doesn't matter. What I want to say now is, I think that particular mantra, it comes from A Course in Miracles, and it's simple but powerful. And it's, I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to see this differently. And what that does, as we continue to say it and try to mean it, and eventually mean it a little bit and then mean it a little more, is it helps us lower our defenses. Now, I'm feeling called to tell you a little story. So in my early 20s, I was pretty high strung. I hadn't done a ton of healing, and I was seeking. And I was in a spiritual study group where we studied A Course in Miracles. And at that time, my husband had just lost his job. He was a teacher. I was a teacher at that time, a public school teacher. And I had lost my job too, or it had gone from full-time to like part-time. So I was looking for another full-time job. So I had just had an interview like a day before, and I hadn't heard back. And I had convinced myself that the only way we were going to be okay is if I got this one particular job. Okay. So basically I had my defenses up with the universe, and I was like, I'm not going to see anything else. Just like, give me this job and I'll feel okay. So I'm at the spiritual study group. I can just like remember it vividly. I'm like sitting in the corner of like a sectional, and we're literally talking about like the art of willingness, which is like the opposite of this card. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the opposite. So we're talking about the art of willingness, and I am acting like I'm participating, but in my mind and body, I'm just like, just give me the job. I'm not okay unless I have this one particular job. Just give me the job. I was just so anxious about it. I was almost to the point of feeling like physically sick. And that anxiety just built. And I think it was because we were talking about the willingness. So I was just I was an anxious person at that point chronically, but it was like this acute situation was making me more anxious. But then we're like talking about spiritual willingness and I'm not practicing it. So it just like built and built and built. And so finally, so we're talking about the particular mantra, the particular statement, I'm willing to see things differently. So finally, I'm walking out to my car and the anxiety has built so much. I like literally remember saying to the universe, like, fine, I am willing to see things differently. Okay. And then this like wave of relief came over me. And I kid you not, on the way home, I got the idea of like, wait, why don't we look for jobs overseas? I get home, I talk to my husband about it. He's excited. He's on board. I kid you not, within 1 week, we had found a agency that connected schools abroad with with people who speak English, from English-speaking countries with other schools in countries that are not English-speaking to do like conversational English teaching. Within 1 week, we had found that company, had interviews, and within a few weeks, we had been placed in schools. So we were placed in public schools in Taiwan, where we got to teach conversational English to the Taiwanese students and staff. And within like 6, maybe at most 8 weeks from that particular night where I was like, nope, universe, I need this one particular job in the States, within 6 to 8 weeks, I am literally living and working with my husband in Taiwan. And we lived and worked there for a year, and it was the first time we had ever encountered for that long period of time a different culture, worked within a different culture. It was absolutely, positively life-changing in the most beautiful way. And I think that's another reason I was so, like, the anxiety was building, is because this potential was building too of this totally different experience, but I was resisting it. So that was such a huge lesson to me about what we miss out on when we're not willing to see things differently. Or maybe better put, like what we allow, the beauty that we allow, the change, the transformation we allow when we're willing to lower our defenses a bit and be willing to see things differently. So I don't know exactly how that's going to play out in your life in terms of the form. I do know it's going to play out well. Like, it is always a good thing to have that willingness with the universe, with Mother God, to see things differently, to allow her to inform us about different truths, to allow her to help us see different insights, different opportunities, different affordances. So that is always good. I don't know, obviously, the details of what that's going to look like in your life, what's going to look like in this particular relationship or other relationships, but I do know the power of it in my own life. And I do know also my tendency to do this. You know what I mean? So I can definitely resonate in my own way. But I hope you're finding such relief in this, because I think I'm almost feeling like the anxiety has been building the same way, like I told you about the anxiety building in that story. And now there's a different way to feel empowered. There's a different way to get your prayers answered. And so I think it's actually a really, really beautiful sign and invitation if you're willing to see it that way. So the mantra is simple but powerful. It comes from A Course in Miracles, and it says, I am willing to see this differently. And you don't even have to mean it right away, you guys. You don't even have to mean it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really mean it. I just was like, fine. I feel so anxious. Fine. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes now in my life, I have to say it multiple times, and I have to I think there's a process of letting down our defenses. You know what I mean? So it's not always immediate. But if we continue at it, it happens. Do you know what I mean? And again, I think there's also like a paradox here of just like being really kind to yourself, because there's reasons we put up our defenses. Do you know what I mean? And protecting oneself is a really beautiful thing. So there's no need to feel bad about having defenses. There are reasons. We are meant to protect ourselves and our essence. I think this is just a call to protect yourself in a way that works better, is kinder to yourself than others, and is different than what you've done habitually in the past. So with that said, let's do the book method of divination here with the 4 agreements and see what wants to be said. If you live in a past dream, you don't enjoy what is happening right now because you will always wish it to be different than it is. There is no time to miss anyone or anything because you are alive. Not enjoying what is happening right now is living in the past and being only half alive. This leads to self-pity, suffering, and tears. You were born to be happy. You were born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. You are alive, so take your life and enjoy it. Don't resist life passing through you, because that is God. I'm going to say Mother God, and that is Mother God, because that is Mother God passing through you. Just your existence proves the existence of Mother God. Your existence proves the existence of life energy. That's giving me, what am I trying to say? Sacral chakra keeps coming to me, but it's actually giving me solar plexus vibes, like just like the heart, or it's not your heart. Hopefully you're following me. Like the center of your being, the center of life. We don't need, listen to this. We don't need to know or prove anything. 2 of Swords, because what is defense? Defensive energy, knowing, trying to act like you know and proving it. Do you know what I mean? Like you're defending something. And not in that positive sense of like protection, right? There's like defensive. Well, that's wild. Okay. We don't need to know or prove anything. Just to be, to take a risk and to enjoy life is all that matters. And I think that's a beautiful way to put like taking a risk of being willing to see things differently. Like that is a risk to this way of being. It's scary, right? But it's also powerful and important. Say no when you want to say no, and say yes when you want to say yes. You have the right to be you. You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you are denying yourself the right to be you. That's a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. Oh, yeah, that's a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You don't need the acceptance of others. You express your own divinity by being alive and by loving yourself and others. It is the expression of Mother God to say, hey, I love you. I'm feeling called to keep going. The first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind. But you can do your best. Don't expect you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. Wow. So that's powerful because like doing our best is different than defense energy, right? And I'm thinking about like the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset. And if that rings a bell, maybe, or is like jolting something in your system, maybe look up those concepts, because growth mindset is like, just do your best, right? But fixed mindset is like, we're always having to defend who we already are. We're always, where there's like this idea of defense, like we're already supposed to be good, so we defend our good. Do you know what I mean? Versus like, we are intended to be living, growing, maturing, transforming creatures. So if we're not where we want to be in our life, we're not who we want to be, our relationship is not how we want to be, like we can spend time and energy defending that, and that gets us pretty stuck. Or we can do our best to change it. We can do our best to put principles like the 4 agreements into practice, so that change can happen over time. Do you know what I mean? That we can lower our defenses and step into our true empowerment and step into true living and healthier relationship dynamics. So I love those 2 mantras for you. So first, like, I'm willing to see this differently. And then second, I'm willing to do my best. I think those could be really powerful the more that you practice them. But ultimately, I think if you're at this point in the reading, I think I'm so inspired by your willingness and excited for you that you can get yourself less, out of this energy more and more and into true empowerment more and more. Because in my own way, I understand being in this energy and it's really uncomfortable. And then I'm on that same journey, dropping my defenses more and more, building true empowerment more and more. And it's not an easy journey, but it is important and it is fulfilling. And the more we baby step by baby step practice it, the more it reaps its rewards.